Hey all, Heretic here with another Hearthstone Battlegrounds tips and tricks guide, and I'm here to bring you the information you need to help you win with Ysera. So get comfy and let's dive in. First, let's talk about our hero power Dream Portal, which reads passive. Bob always offers an extra dragon whenever the tavern is refreshed. So, this hero power is pretty simple. It's free, really can't beat the price. Every time you slam refresh on the tavern, it's going to give you all the normal minions plus one dragon. Pretty good. You're going to find dragons normally in the shop, and now you're always getting one every time you hit refresh. It is a very good hero power. It's simple and just works. Really can't go wrong with it. All right, now let's talk about Ysera's buddy, Valithria Dreamwalker. Valithria is a tier 4, 6/4 dragon that reads, Dragons in Bob's Tavern have +3/+3. That doesn't sound bad. In the early game, it's pretty good, but the problem is it's a tier 4 buddy. So you're not getting it till later. You're looking at it around like turn 7 and 8. And those buffs, that +3/+3 might be good for turn 7 and 8. Then it kind of goes away really quickly. The value on this buddy is very limited. I think if you can get it early, it's great. Somehow you pull it on like a turn 6 or something like that. But very few lobbies this is going to be an actively good buddy. It's not great. It's not a battle cry. That's the real problem. You have to keep Valithria in play. And nobody wants a 6/4 dragon on turn 8 and 9 for very long. You might need it just to fill a spot, but then it's buffed every dragon so they're good enough to buy. The problem is once you buy them and then sell her to play them, they're not good anymore. It's just catch-22. You really can't win with this buddy. If it was tier 3, I think it would really be in the sweet spot, but at tier 4, it does not feel great. But it is a dragon. It is synergistic, so if anything, it does fill a gap for a minute. I advise against really ever making this gold unless you are high rolling to no end and just stomping your opponents, in which case, hey, keep it on the board. Don't complain. But I don't think that's going to happen very often. This just is not a good buddy. Now, when it comes to tiering Ysera, I feel a more basic curve through the early game is definitely your best choice. After that, though, I'd start thinking about sitting on 4 for a while. You really want to get a Terragosa or a prize promo Drake. There's always the weird games where you're just stomping through your opponents, and maybe you're like, oh, you know what? I can get to 5. I can get that tier 6 triple for the early Terragosa. Find the Razor Gore. Those are great. But typically, in the average game, your real power is going to come from the Terragosa prize promo Drake combo. It's just good. And at tier 4, it's pretty consistent. You usually can find them with your hero power in a couple turns. I wouldn't do anything crazy like say, oh, they have to get gold. Just be happy if you can get 2. Really want 3. So I either want 2 Terragosas in a prize promo or 2 prize promos in a Terragosa. And then I'm moving on to 5 and 6 because you really do need to get those Razor Gores, those Nadina the Reds. You can live without them. You can just do the Terragosa, Prize Promo Drake, Nadina the Red. It certainly works, but it's a little harder to pull off. The sooner you get to the higher tiers, the sooner you get the Nadina you need and the other dragons to help establish that package. Now, for the minions you want throughout the game, early game, now that the Acolyte of Cthulhu has been moved up to tier 2, Chroma Wing, Red Whelps are actually pretty good on the early couple turns. There's nothing wrong with them. Acolyte was in, not so much, but right now they're shining. They're definitely doing a lot more competitive things than they were before. In the mid game, it's the Terragosa Prize Promo Drake. You're looking for that package, and if you find it, you're all set. Unfortunately, if you spend too long looking for it, you're probably in a lot of trouble. Prester's Pyrospawn is really good. It negates Divine Shields. Basically, whenever a dragon attacks, it does 3 damage to the target before they take it. Your own minion takes any damage. So if they have Divine Shields, they pop it. If it's a weak minion, they just kill it. Your minion takes no damage. It's kind of a win-win. So you really can't go wrong on that one. Late game, Kalecgos, Razor Gore, Nadina the Red, give her taunt, win. These are the kind of things you need. The Kalecgos, Razor Gore, they're optional. You can just do it with the Terragosa prize promo Drakes. But if you see the Razor Gore, it's always a good play. The Kalecgos is a little harder to fit in because you have to find that buff slot so you can cycle Battlecry minions, but it still definitely works. Neutral minions, really the only things you kind of want are Unstable Ghouls situationally to knock off all your opponent's Divine Shields at once. or Amalgadon maybe. But Nadine of the Red's really the shine. If you can give her taunt, then you don't really have to worry about their Divine Shields, especially when you have a Prester's Power Spawn in play, because every time you guys attack, their shields don't matter. Pretty good combo. Now, when it comes to countering Ysera, pretty simple. Stats. Raw, massive stats. If you're looking at a Ysera, typically they're going to have 1 to 2 Terragosas that are really buffed, maybe a Terragosa and a Razor Gore. In a late game, yeah, you could be looking at a massive board. But in that mid to semi-late game, they're only going to have 1 or 2 really big minions. So if you can spread stats across the board, you definitely can swarm them down pretty easily and kill them. Divine Shields, if you get to attack with them, are great. The Presters may negate yours when they're attacking, but when you swing, they've got no such protection. You just go in there and smash them down. So if they don't have their shields yet, your Crackling goes first and it's big enough, and they don't have taunt on their Nadina, or they just don't even have a Nadina, you're going to do some serious damage and wreck them. And of course, poison. If you have enough stats to where your poison can survive, get a couple hits in, you're going to slaughter them pretty quick. Dragons are a tough board to counter late game once they're fully developed, but you definitely can do it, but it's a lot of technical plays. You need to look at their positioning, your positioning, and it becomes a mind game in the late game, no doubt about that. Overall, Ysera is a very fun, good hero. She's very consistent. She's going to give you dragons every time you hit refresh that hero power. Your buddy's a little subpar, but overall, she's just good. Finding that dragon every refresh can definitely give you what you need. And if you can survive the early mid game, which is a little easier now with some changes to the balancing that's happened, she's pretty good. In the high tier players, yeah, she's a tier 4. She's not a very good hero. But if you look at the data for all players, she's consistently overall a good hero. High tier 2 for the average player. Myself, I put her to a low tier 3 to a very high tier 4. Probably like one of the higher tier 4s from me. When given a lobby full of meh, I will always pick her because she's just consistent. Her gameplay is not overly complicated till the end. At the end, positioning really gets important depending if you've got, Nadine of the Red with taunt, if you've got the Terragosas, do you have Kelagos? It's like, what package did you get? Did you get lucky? You nail an Amalgadon with poison? I mean, it all depends what you're managing to find with her, but overall, she's good and fun. And she's not overtly difficult for the first few turns. So, it gives you a chance to get comfy, and then once you're in the late game, seeing what your opponents work, now you get to do some nuanced play. Now you get to make some real decisions. So jump in there, have a good time. I really actually enjoy Ysera. I've always liked her, even way back when she came out. She was always good to me. In the end, I've attached a link with some gameplay. If you're looking to see how I pilot her, stay tuned. I have more guides on the way, and I hope you learned a few things today and had a good time. I know I did. Bye.